Hi guys, I'm Jen Hensley, co-owner and effectiveness coach with Dynamics. We are absolutely passionate about helping you connect and collaborate with one another. We thought a great way to start this would be to let you hear from some teachers who have extensive experience working in the online world. They're going to share their tips and tricks that they use, and we hope they'll be helpful.
My name is Daniel Daly, and I've worked online since 2012. I think the first thing just to kind of block off in your mind is to not form negative conclusions about students who might be not really participating a ton in your class. That happens to us every year. We'll have a fresh new class list of students, and then there are just some kids who are just, honestly, they're a mystery. We don't know, why aren't you responding? Why aren't you picking up the phone? So then later in the year, we'll meet them at testing, we do testing in person. And it's just like, whoa, like you're the nicest kid ever. You took 2 hours on your test. Like these are all good kids. And you just gotta kind of keep that at the forefront of your mind. It's easy to kind of form those judgments of why aren't you showing up for the online class? Why aren't you reading my emails? Something that really helps us here at TRECA is collaborating with other staff to kind of get a picture of what is going on with a student. So the role that I previously held was as a student advisor, and that might not be a luxury that all school districts have, but maybe you're a homeroom teacher, maybe you have, an advisory caseload or something of that nature. And that's really helpful for us because we have teachers have classes and the advisors have a list of students. So we can kind of always go to the advisor and kind of check with them and say, hey, what's going on with this kid? Any idea of why, I've left 5 voicemails for them and I see they talk to you, like any hints as to how to get through to them. So kind of sharing information on what's going on with a kid. If a kid's having a hard time, they probably don't want to pick up a phone and talk to 5 different teachers and their advisor and tell them, this really tough thing is going on in my life, which a lot of kids, of course, now are going through. Maybe there's a central contact person you can kind of collaborate with and have a good note-taking system to figure out, oh, I see their advisor called last week. This happened. This gives me a better perspective on how to approach this.
So first about the colleagues, how do you guys make that happen at a distance? How do you, if you say you want to talk about a certain student or find out about a certain student, if assuming that you didn't have an advisor, let's say you had a homeroom teacher instead, how would you go about doing that?
I think the easiest way to translate that to any school, we have a student information system called Evolve, which is really great and kind of is where we house our notes. Like most schools aren't going to have that. But another system I started using this year is called Google Keep. And that's just basically like sticky notes within Google. It's keep.google.com. And towards the end of the year especially, I started partnering with advisors, or maybe this would be a homeroom teacher for some schools. And we would just have a Google Keep note about, Lindsay in the government class. And we would just kind of go back and forth, take little notes down, like, hey, here's what I saw from her today. What'd you see? And for that student, Lindsay, eventually we got it down to, we broke through to her and we were able to get her work in.
Hello, I'm Amy McFarland. I am a teacher at TRECA Digital Academy. I've been teaching online now for 6 years. I currently teach 5th grade math and science. Before teaching online, I taught 13 years in brick and mortar. I've actually taught in Ohio and I've taught in Indiana. My main experience has kind of been the intermediate age. However, I've also done a little bit in 7th grade as well. Relationship is such a imperative part of the online classroom. To begin, I always send out just a welcome message, a video, so they can see my face, hear my voice, see my face, to both parents and students. And the video is just trying to be very welcoming, and then just a quick kind of, hey, here's how you can get started in the class. I think that's one thing when students start the online journey. It's such a there's such a learning curve involved sometimes, and it can be very overwhelming. So I just first like for them to feel welcome and invited and safe. So to get to know them. So again, I do my video, I send out emails. I also do a meet the teacher session where they can come and just meet me. And it's just, I tell them all about myself, my family, my kids, my pet, within the course when they first start the online class, it's all about getting to know them. They do some welcome activities where they tell me a little bit about themselves, just like you do in brick and mortar.
So some of the welcome activities that you do, are those more in writing, or how do those work?
A little bit of everything. One could just be like an interest survey where they kind of tell me about a writing assignment, where they tell me about their favorite hobby, their favorite candy. I've also done using like the program Flipgrid, where they can make a video, just a short 1-minute video about themselves. Sometimes they'll show their pets. Also done Padlet, the program Padlet, where you can just kind of post a quick little, maybe a picture or a little image about yourself or a little blurb. But again, I try to get to know them as much as I can. So then later in the year, if we're in a live session and I can tie in, if they like football, I can tie in that in their feedback. I can tie that into a math problem. Again, just trying to get to know them. And I think it's a misconception that you won't know them as well. And I feel like sometimes in online, we're almost more personal, because that student and I are emailing all the time. And then also when you do meet, sometimes in a one-on-one session, they're very open. I've heard students who didn't talk at all, and then in class, when there's one-on-one sessions, they're opening up and they're so much more willing to work. So I feel like that is a misconception. I feel like I know my students really well, both academically, emotionally, socially, and their interest in hobbies as well.
So thinking about relationship building, what is your top tip that you would give to teachers who are kind of new to this environment in building relationships? What's the top suggestion you would give?
Again, to make the effort to get to know them. It's not the easiest sometimes. You'll get the families who are hard to get a hold of, or the child who doesn't respond to your email, or you can't get them to attend the live session. I would say just perseverance, finding something that will hook them and you can start building that relationship. I try to do phone calls, emails, live sessions. I've also sent postcards, mailings out, and I always try to do it in a very welcoming, no way. Like, hey, we've been missing you and love to see you. When I call, sometimes I won't say I'm concerned about so-and-so. I might say, hey, I'm just calling to check in. How's it going? Would love to hear from you. And I find that they respond much better than feeling like you're making a judgment of some sort. Mm-hmm. And I guess my best advice after with the perseverance is just to be very organized and writing notes down or keeping track of those, even if they're quick interactions, so you can come back to it at another moment. And when you do get them again, hey, how's your cat? And you can have the cat's name. I just really feel like they respond well. Oh, they noticed that, or she really cares, or she remembered that about me. And that then they become a student and a relationship and not just somebody through the computer.
Hello, my name is Mindy Valines. I've been teaching for a long time now. I started off in a traditional classroom in Ohio and Texas, and then I taught overseas in an international school for several years. When we moved back to the States, my oldest daughter was very young, and online schools were very new. I started with Trekka Digital Academy, right? So I teach math, which is rarely students' favorite subject. There are some, but it is rarely their favorite subject. So at the beginning of the school year, for the first week, we don't even do math. We totally focus just on the relationship building. I make sure that when they enter my classroom, when they click in, they know who the teacher is and they can see a picture of me. They don't have to search for that information. It's right there on the front page as soon as they log in, so that they know that there's a person there and they can start to associate a name with that person. And then, the very first thing they do is they get to learn about me. They get to read about me. They get some fun facts about me. It can be helpful if you're working in a larger group to have some things that are similar, some things that kids can compare from class to class. Like, oh, all the teachers are going to tell me what they like to do in their free time. They're all going to tell me about their family. They're all going to tell me, one of their bucket list things, one of their wishes that they want to do. It just helps build continuity between courses and makes them feel as part of a group. But then you also obviously need to have space for teachers to do their own thing. So after the students have learned about me, I ask them to complete a questionnaire that helps me to learn about them. And you can very creatively find out about students with these questions. You know, some are straightforward, some are a little bit more probing that they might not realize. You know, I'll ask them something like, what do you like to eat for breakfast? What's your favorite thing to eat for breakfast? If it's after midnight, what are you eating? You know,
Right.
just you know, just some fun things. And I give them my answers at the end to those questions as well. You know, I'm not ever going to ask them to do anything that I wouldn't do. And ask things like, if you're having trouble with something, who are you going to ask? To see, do they know the resources that the school provides? Do they have resources at home? Those types of things. If you could choose one focus subject for the year, what would it be? You know, one overriding theme for the year that all of your subjects would tie into. That way, if the student is struggling later and I'm having trouble connecting or engaging with them, I can go back to that and be like, okay, they're interested in sports, they're interested in veterinary science, and try to reach out to them with something that's interesting to them that I know that they want to do, to try to get them back into my class.
What other ways so are they synchronous or asynchronous? Are you on with them at the same time? Is there a mixture of both?
Generally, it's asynchronous. The material is there, the students work at it when they want. It becomes synchronous when a student runs into an issue or needs help. Then it's synchronous, we'll meet and work on things at the same time. Generally, the work is there for them to do at any time. We don't have set times when students must be online. So I'll have students working at 6:30 in the morning and I'll have kids working at 1 at night.
So thinking about relationship building, what is your top tip that you would give to teachers who are kind of new to this environment in building relationships? What's the top suggestion you would give?
Make sure the kids know as soon as they log into the class where they are and what they're doing. It should be, this is math, this is Mrs. Valines, this is me. They should never have any doubt where they are when they log into your classroom, where they are and who they should contact if they need help. There's a name and they know where they are. That would be the biggest thing.
We hope you take some time to reflect after everything that you've heard. Think about it, write down some notes, think about things that you might try, and most importantly, share the information with your colleagues.